What's up, everybody? It's Coach Kev. Here's Rich Paul sitting down with Max Kellerman discussing the oversaturation of basketball sneakers, the decline of kids buying basketball sneakers, the shoe culture, the basketball shoe culture. Is it dead? Is it dying? Why so? We're here to discuss it, and let's see if we believe that this is the end of the sneaker culture.
Here's the thing. You and I grew up. We grew up in a very trend-following society. We followed trends. That's what we did. We grew up having to have the shoe that everybody else also had to have, which is how shoe brands were built. Signature shoe brands were built.
Jordan 3s had to have them.
Yeah, they had this discussion about the basketball players' shoes not selling as much as they used to. Of course not.
Why? Why do you think that is?
Well, for a number of reasons. One, there's a lot of signature guys. There's so many signature athletes. Every company has a signature guy, multiple signature guys. Mm-hmm. Well, there ain't that many kids that want signatures from. They don't want
you saying
signatures.
The players are less popular?
I don't know if they're less popular, but...
Great point. So back in the day, it wasn't that many signature players for these big companies like Adidas, Nike, and things like that. There was only a select few, which meant that their sneakers were more polarizing. Their sneakers were harder to get. If you had them, they were more into, like, you had to be... You had to have a lot of money. You did have to have money to buy these sneakers. But if you did have these sneakers like the Jordan 1s, the Jordan 3s, it was big time. When you had those on your feet and you walk around, people would look and they would know that, okay, he's one of them. He's one of them. Now, the Nike, the Adidas, they're just about making as much money as possible. So instead of having 2 people back in the day for their signature line, now they have 20. So the kids are like, I don't like 20 players. I'm not going to buy 20 different sneakers, things like that. So it's hard to stay up with the trend of buying the signature shoe when the signature shoe doesn't even really mean as much as it used to do because there's just so many people, so many players with signature shoes. So I agree with Rich Paul on that.
The kids are less into all the things that we were into as it pertained to a player.
Why do you think?
First of all, I don't know what else you can do that hasn't already been done in terms of the style of shoe.
Like
it costs a lot of money.
When we were kids, new stuff was coming out all the time. It's like the dunk contest where at a certain point, what you can add is very subtle because it's all been done before.
Yeah, new stuff was coming out, but it was also new.
Right. We'd never seen anything like it.
Now new things come out, but it's old.
Yeah, and if it's new, it's in a running shoe, not a basketball
Yeah,
shoe.
it's not. There's no new Jordan 4.
Right.
It's the same Jordan 4 that came out in 1989.
That's why the most popular kicks are still from a million years ago.
Great point again. So what they're doing now is just retroing all the Jordans. The Jordans are still the top-selling basketball sneaker of all time. So they're like Rich Paul, like Max is saying, they're not coming out with a new Jordan 4. They are coming out with, like, I did know that years ago they were coming out with like Jordan, I don't know what number they got up to, 16, 17, 20, whatever. But people don't like those. They like the original Jordans, the 4s, the 5s, the 10s, the 11s, the 8s, the 7s, the 1s. Like that's what kids and even the kids back then that are now grown-ups now want to continue to wear. So Nike saw that as an opportunity and said, instead of making Jordan 25s, let's just make Jordan 4s and call it a retro. So we change a little bit of the Jordan 4. Or we just re-release the Jordan 4 as close as possible to how it looked back in the day. And that's how they're making their money. So after you get 5 different retros of Jordan 4s every, 5 years, you don't want to continue buying these Jordan 4s when you're like, I just got the retros 3 years ago. And I'm not going to just continue buying Jordan 4s because they keep coming out with it. So that makes sense, and that's another reason why it is declining and why kids nowadays or even the grown-ups now are like, I don't want to continue buying these because they're not coming out with new products.
Then you had a trend that people were following and it was all new. And now a lot of, I think this is what you mean by retrospect, right? Like a lot of what draws you into the like fashion of the sneaker industry is nostalgia.
And the problem is, we love to relive our teenage years where we thought was the hypest, where we were so excited, the wow factor of
every generation
everything.
does, yeah.
These kids today are actually in their teenage years. They can't relive
They're
their
not. How can
teenage
they be nostalgic?
We can't force nostalgia on these kids that's actually living in their moment.
Because everything was new back then, we hadn't seen these before.
We were kids growing up with these new Jordans coming out, these new Kobe's or whatever, new sneakers coming out big time, the Grant Hills, the Penny Hardaways, like these. We were kids and we looked up to these players. So we wanted to wear their sneakers because that's our way of being the closest we could to these players. So that's why we were engaged. That's why we bought their sneakers. As we grow up, now we want to relive our childhood. So when they re-release a Jordan sneaker that we may have had when we were a kid or we may have missed out of when we were a kid, we now buy them as adults to kind of relive our childhood memories, which makes sense. These kids are kids now. So they don't have childhood memories. They're kids right now. So them getting Jordans or re-releases of Jordans and things like that is mostly going to be coming from their parents or adults, which the child has not lived through and have not seen and not grow up during the era of Jordan and things like that. So you can't be mad at them for not wanting to have the Jordans and things like that and wanting to look at a new era or buy different types of sneakers or whatever. So that's definitely another reason why the sneaker industry, why the basketball sneaker industry game is dying down. And another great point by them is the kids are kids now. We were kids back then, reliving our childhood memory. They're kids now going through their childhood, so they don't really care about the nostalgia aspect.
And there were certain signature athletes. Basketball players in the United States dominated the NBA.
Yes.
So it's more relatable to kids growing up in the United States.
Well,
And
that's what was marketed too.
And now, because everything's been done, a lot of the most popular kicks are retro sneakers. So for the
That
new
kids don't care
generation, they have
nothing
no
about.
nostalgic attachment because they're not old enough to be nostalgic about anything. And they're also not getting anything new because everything new under the sun's already been done.
Yeah, and they don't care. These kids don't care about the new nothing. They care about what they think is cool.
Great points all around by both Max and Rich Paul. What do you guys think? Is the basketball sneaker industry dying? Is the retro shoe industry dying? Is sneaker culture dead or turning down a wrong path of death as well? Leave all your thoughts in the comments below. I know when I was young, you had to get every Jordan. Every time there was a new release of Jordans, you would have to get the Jordans to just stay up with the culture and just stay on top with the culture. Nowadays, like they were saying, it's re-releasing the same one. So it's like, how many of the same sneakers are you going to just continuously buy? And as you get older, your priorities are different. So you're not looking at it as having to buy every Jordan sneaker to be cool, even though you were doing that as a kid. So I was a big sneakerhead, and I could say I had roughly around, 50 Jordans. Now it's cut down to a quarter of that I have right now. And I think that goes for a lot of my friends that were big sneakerheads and a lot of people I know that are big sneakerheads. This culture of kids, they don't care about the retros. They don't care about that stuff. They care about what's going on right now. And those re-releases and things like that, it just doesn't, they don't tune into that. It doesn't affect them, and it doesn't turn them anyway to want to buy the sneaker as well. But let me know all your thoughts in the comments below about the sneaker culture. Are you a big sneakerhead? Did you buy a lot of sneakers? Do you think the sneaker culture is dying? Do you agree with Max and Rich Paul on the reasons why the sneaker culture industry, especially the basketball sneaker culture industry, is dying? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Till next time, this is Coach Kev, and I'm out of here. Peace.